Are you ready? Can crush us. It don't really get no better than this the podcast that you're looking for if you're really heavy into wrestling. Hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock 'em out like boom bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Got a shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody, power driving, hit 'em with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break 'em, let's go. Yeah. Can Crushers. Yeah. Can Crushers, let's go.
It's time to testify here on Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast, the Spotlight Edition. I'm your host, Mark the Mark Martinez. You'll get it all in a minute. You'll get why I'm testifying today. Man, I need this man in my life right now. It's been a rough week and a half or so. So hopefully the wrestling Christian brother greatness can pass some good words along to me. You know, tell me, give me a vision, give me something, and just lead it forward. A little bit of uplifting. Yeah, I need some of that in my life right now. I really do. Brother Greatness, in the business, close to 11 years. He's seen a lot. He's been up and down the roads. I can't wait. Hopefully he has some stories or something. And yeah, but guys, listen to this for a second. If you want to hear a pretty powerful speech, this guy could be a motivational speaker too. Head over to YouTube and type in Brother Greatness Speaks on Fear. Watch that. And then come back. It's crazy good. It's crazy good. Yeah. So I'll have to bring that up during the podcast. But we'll get there. There's your shot for the day. Guys, you know we're hooked up with Collar and Elbow, hats, hoodies, tees, all that cool stuff that Al Snow and the hooligans at Collar and Elbow Wrestling make. You know, when you check out, use a promo code, Can Crushers. All one word, capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers. You'll save 10%. Make sure you check us out on Spotify and iHeart and iTunes and Stitcher and Google Play. Guys, you know, wherever podcasts are, we are there. Send us an email. You want to be part of the show? You're a wrestler, you're a promoter, you're a cameraman, whatever. You want to be part of the show? Referee too. We love them. CanCrusher69@gmail.com. Drop us a little message. Or find us on our socials. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's all at CanCrusher69. Get into our DMs and we'll hook you up for a show. We love talking wrestling. We love helping you love us. What? Wait. I don't know. Here comes Al Snow and Collar and Elbow, and we come back. We have Brother Greatness on the phone. He's going to pray for me.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connects emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
And welcome back to Can Crushers, guys. You heard in the intro how excited I was and how much I am needed to go and be part of the congregation. Yes, I do. Guys, welcome to the show, the Wrestling Christian Brother Greatness. Brother, how you doing today?
Hallelujah, man. I'm blessed and highly favored in the name of the Lord, my brother.
You don't know how much in the last couple weeks I need that. I really do. It's been a rough couple weeks, and just like you, strong believer, it's nice to hear somebody bring this back with me, and just you can get re-pumped up, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Listen, once you're being driven by the faith and the spirit, no matter what's going on with you, you can always bounce back.
Yeah. And we have a running joke on the show, brother, as every time I say we'll get to it, people do a shot or a drink of something, but we'll get to a major injury that I think has changed part of your life, right?
Definitely so. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll trudge up to that. But I want to tell you guys, if you have not seen Brother Greatness speak on fear, this is my... I know you've done a lot of great things, but when you spoke on fear, guys, look it up on YouTube, by the way, that's powerful. What made you talk on fear like you did? Because a couple seconds before we went on, I said you should be a motivational speaker as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, fear, any emotion that's widely discussed has been widely felt, right? And when we were getting ready to when I was starting to lean into doing upper limit, and I was preparing for that match to do promo for it, all that kind of stuff. It could have been, the nice simple Saturday, May 16th, ravel. You know how it goes.
The monster truck one, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And I wanted to do something different. And honestly, that whole year I was trying to mix it up and actually develop a message instead of just talking about, hey, come to this wrestling show and let's scream hallelujah. I said, no, let's get a little deeper. So I was just trying to think of different things with people's limits. And I was at service one Sunday, and Pastor talked about fear and talked about the Book of Job and just kind of like everything that Job went through throughout that book. And it reminded me of the poem that was read in Coach Carter. And while thinking about all this, I immediately just said, you know what? This is what I need right here. And I immediately attacked the upper limit promo, got nice and emotional during it. And luckily the dude who had the camera was like, oh, we got some tears, keep it rolling. And I'm like, all right, let's knock this out. And I think I was going through a lot of stuff myself during the time period. And it helped, getting to drop that really helped me and end up helping a lot of other people too. Cause we all go through fear in different ways, and a lot of it has to do with ourselves, not really with what's going on around us.
Yeah, for sure. You've been in the business close to 11 years now. Do I have that right? Rounding? Yeah.
Knocking on that door. My first match was May 26th of 2012. So a little over 10 years.
Yeah, okay. I rounded up to make you older, I guess. No,
it's like I could be in that for 11 months. Yeah. Commercial veteran.
Right, there you go. Well, let's do the rewind, though. Who introduced you to professional wrestling? Well, Mom, Dad, Uncle Joe, Aunt Sally? Like, who said, hey, Brother Greatness, you have to watch this because you are going to be awesome?
Yeah, no one in my family. They do not enjoy this at all.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah, no. Honestly, just in school, people were talking about, NWO and all this stuff, height of the Attitude Era. And that wasn't something I was watching in my house, but the kids kept talking about it. I didn't get to watch cable, so I wasn't paying any attention to anything they were talking about. But I used to watch, as every African-American kid in the Northeast did, UPN 9. So I'd be watching the Parkers and stuff, and SmackDown would come on right after the Parkers. And when Rey Mysterio debuted, I watched a fair amount of wrestling prior, just like walking into a room and a friend's watching a show or something. But I'm watching UPN 9. Rey Mysterio debuts on the WWE. I see that man work, and I was like, oh, this is what I watch now.
Wow.
This is just what I watch now. So I went from being one of those kids who kind of knew what was going on because all the kids at school kept talking about it, to being a huge fan because the Parkers and Steve Harvey show and stuff used to come on before it.
Okay. So you can thank the Parkers and Steve Harvey for your love of wrestling because, yeah, and WWR, man, Growing up, I was a Mets fan, so I'm in Pennsylvania. We would also get WWOR, so I would get a lot of the Mets games on there. So yeah, I know WWOR really well. So you named Ray as one of your favorites. Who else did you kind of transition towards growing up when you got to watch it?
Yeah, like a lot of my fellow wrestlers, I fell in love with Kurt Angle, the not to be named Chris Benoit. Definitely a big favorites of mine. Way later on, after I started training, AJ Lee actually became a big influence
Yes.
for me. A lot of my first move sets and a lot of basic psychology I was utilizing were straight rips of things that AJ Lee was doing. Probably like the first 2 years I was wrestling, just different versions of things I saw AJ Lee do.
Okay, cool. We're gonna get to this as well. When I ask who you are, you're not going to tell me right off the bat because I have 3 names written down already when I watch some of your matches, I think I might be close. I think I might be close with this one. One you've already named, but the other 2 you haven't, but I could see a transitional period there that you've said. So yes, I might be good, or I'll go 0 for 3. Growing
Let
up,
me take a shot of water real quick. Are those the rules?
yeah. Growing up in sports, what was your kind of background as a youngster, teen, and then in high school?
Yeah, so I did karate like every little kid.
Right, at least once.
Yeah, I was there for a while. I bowled, and then once I got into high school, I did soccer my senior year. I did folk and freestyle wrestling sophomore through senior year, and in clubs for the first 2 years of college. And I ran track for about 3 years.
So did you know when you were in college that this was going to be a thing that you were going to make the phone call to get into professional wrestling training? Or was there an aha moment?
Yeah, no. I feel like I never actually got a true aha. 10 years in, I don't feel like I ever had a true aha.
We said 11, though, remember? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah, 11. Gotta round up that. I forgot I'm grizzled.
Yeah.
No, full sincerity. Yeah, no, in high school and, near the end of middle school, me and my buddies would, like, fight each other in, like, my friend's apartment building and do a lot of ignorance.
Yep, I've been there.
Later on, I was in a full-fledged yard, and I was always saying, hey, guys, like, why do this here when all 20, 30 of us can go to a school together and blah, blah, blah. No one was trying to hear it. And then eventually one guy named Panic, who is now a battle rapper, I think.
Wow.
He really wanted to join House of Glory because he was a big Amazing Red fan. And we ended up visiting the Ludus, which was at the time being run by the Maximo brothers. We went over there, check it out. He was like, oh, we got to sign up. I said, I don't have money for that. I was in college at the time. And I was going to Hofstra, so I had no money.
No. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So still don't have any money. So he ends up signing up. His dad paid for it for him.
Good for him.
I don't have cash. Yeah, for him, not for me. His dad didn't care about me. But I asked, hey, can I do like a ring fee or something? And I assumed the answer would be no, because that's the appropriate answer. Absolutely not. He goes, nah, yeah, you can stick around. So the Maximos let me rock out until I could start paying them on a monthly basis. And I was just kind of there.
Wow.
It kind of happened.
Wow. That's actually really awesome because in the day and age of when you started, that wasn't a thing. I've talked to a lot of wrestlers that if you didn't have money up front, yeah, you can go out the back door. See you later because you're not coming. Yeah, you're not coming in. That might have been something back in the 70s and 80s that you can work it through, but the times have changed. That's really awesome.
No, that was not normal. That's not what happens. Honestly, I literally said it, fully expecting to be shown the door. And on some level, I kind of wanted to be shown the door. I just, I promised Pat, I was like, listen, man, I'm going to try. The most I can do is try. But I was like, I know I don't have it. I don't have the money. I'm paying for this overtly expensive college, and
Yeah.
I do not have a well-off family, so I don't have the money. I just don't. And
So how does
yeah,
college and wrestling school go hand in hand?
they don't go hand in hand very well at all. I would, do my classes, my various clubs. I had 2 jobs. I was an RA and I had a job on campus. And whenever I found the time, because I wasn't driving, I would go from Long Island to Brooklyn on the LIRR, run down there, train for as long as I could. Luckily, the Ludas had great hours, and then rush back over in time to get one of the last Blue Beetle buses that went back and forth from Mineola, get back to school, and then jump back into whatever college tomfoolery I was into.
Damn. Burning the candle at both ends, essentially.
Yeah, it's pretty consistent with wrestling.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's continued. So you do this. How long was your training prior to getting your first match?
It was definitely less than a year. I definitely, in my opinion, I wrestled way too quickly. I don't think I was ready yet. I think it was about 7 months, maybe 6 or 7 months.
Oh, damn.
Before I
That's
had my first
really
match.
quick.
Yeah, it was really, really swift. Luckily, it was just like a little battle royal. Praise the Lord. Um, Wrapped that up, and then my following match had a singles maybe 3 months after that.
That makes sense. But
Yeah,
the
but
6 months,
still,
holy cow.
yeah, still it was really fast. Like I can honestly say, I don't think I was really ready to be having matches until probably multiple years later.
Multiple years. Holy crap. I've heard people say, well, I was ready in like month 5, but they wanted to hold me out for a couple more months. I'm like, oh, dude, don't say that, because you probably weren't, but you have an ego, whatever. I love your honesty and your humbleness, but really, I think you're being too humble now, years later. Why?
Yeah, no, I sincerely believe that, because when I sit down, I look at a lot of schools nowadays, and I'm getting to know a lot of the guys who are coming out now, and I got to meet them prior. I don't want to use anyone's names or anything, but a lot of guys who people are like, oh wow, this exciting new superstar, this exciting new wrestler popped up on the indie scene, and they're just killing it, and we can't believe, like, no, that guy's been training for 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, he's been training and busting his butt and working out and making all his mistakes behind closed doors. That dude or that woman, like, they're doing all of this behind closed doors, busting their butt under some of the best trainers in the world, with the best programs, doing it from a young age. And then when you meet them at the age of 22, they've been wrestling since they were 18, but you don't know this because they all the things that I was doing wrong between 2012 and 2014, and then post injury from the end of 16 through till probably the end of 17. All the mistakes I made in that time span, they were making behind closed doors. So by the time the end of 2017 rolls up and I really have something worthwhile to offer, there's already positive and negative stigmas that have been created, and a lot of the negative could be avoided if I just didn't wrestle as quickly as I did. But that, no regrets, but it's just an understanding of the reality of it. Objectively, definitely wasn't ready. Definitely wasn't.
No, that makes perfect sense. It really does. I like what you're saying, that it's a sport, it's entertainment, it's a fight, it's a showcase, it's an extravaganza, but you have to make sure it's right the whole time. And you saying that you physically saying or mentally or whatever saying you weren't ready, that's awesome to hear that come out from somebody's mouth, because that's something people don't say. So, but going into training, with your karate and your track, your soccer, you have all this cardio and physical stuff in wrestling as well. Did you think you maybe had a leg up in training because you knew some of, the physical parts of it?
Yeah, I had a lot of W's. I really did. I try not to admit it to too many people because they kind of get the side eye. But no, I had a lot of W's. a lot of W's. Like learning how to roll wasn't too difficult because the roll was very similar to the rolling I was learning in amateur wrestling.
Right.
The cardio was never an issue because most of my sport, track and soccer, all you do is run.
Yeah.
So
It's not like
I wasn't-
baseball that I played. You just stand around. Yeah.
it's just it's very. If you're dying in the ring and you did a bunch of track and soccer, I know what you were doing.
Yeah.
It's just that certain things like bumping wasn't an issue because since I was a stupid face backyarder for a while, I was used to falling down incorrectly on cement and bricks and park mats and places you're not supposed to land. So learning how to land properly on something that's still not soft but isn't the ground was a non-issue. And I already had a character, or at least the bones of a character from being an idiot in the yard with my friends. So there were a lot of things that I just kind of had already that made it a lot easier for me to get started, and it's probably part of the reason why I got the green light to start doing the in-house shows and do a few things so quickly.
What was your hardest thing to grasp your head around? I mean, you didn't have ropes running in the backyard, did you? Did you guys have to make it? Yeah. Was running the ropes tough?
Yes and no. It's one of those things. When you're an athlete, you're coachable to some degree. So when you're being taught all these things, and there's like, oh, here's this one thing you're definitely not doing, and the people around you are still struggling with a few things that you're getting quickly. Although it might have been difficult, it didn't feel difficult in comparison to the people I was next to. They were struggling a little bit more because they didn't have certain things that I kind of just had. I would say the hardest thing for me, honestly, is just understanding the culture of wrestling and understanding the difficulty never really came with the in-ring stuff or with psychology. The hardest two things for me, I guess, were remembering what I was supposed to be doing in the ring, because that was a spot heavy school.
Yeah.
Just
Very spot heavy. Yeah.
And I have a terrible memory, always have. And just the culture of wrestling, just like understanding how people move and act and how to grow in wrestling and all that stuff was very hard for me to kind of understand and navigate.
Okay, so keeping this real and names for people to understand, this is where I'm going to tell you, just watching videos when I saw some of your matches, who pops up. In my mind right now, I have Xavier Woods, okay? Xavier Woods because you're loud, you're boisterous, you're over the top sometimes. So Xavier pops into my head. Saw Ray with some of the move sets, flying through the ropes and stuff. But another one, when you said AJ Lee, and I had this written down already, it might have been because you did it once or whatever, but when you did Liv Morgan's kind of face buster off of the ropes or something I saw in one of your matches, Liv popped into my mind as well. So everybody's relevant on names. So, yeah, how close? I mean, Liv's fairly new even to you, but I'm just keeping it for others to, Some people don't know who the hell AJ Lee is, so shame on them.
I mean, you're definitely not too far off. I mean, the Liv definitely, it's a good thing you explained the Liv one. I'm like, Liv? I don't see the Liv. To be honest, anytime you see me hit anything that even remotely looks like a code breaker, it's a move that was given to me from Grim Reaper.
Okay.
Grim Reaper taught me to do the wheelbarrow into the double knees as either a lung blower or a code breaker. So that's all him. That's all him. I can't even act like there was anything else. He walked up to me one day and said, "Hey, try this." And I tried it, and it felt good. And I was like, "Okay, I'm going to do this forever."
And you ran with it.
Yeah, but no, I think it's pretty close. Like I never studied Xavier. Like even back when he was Consequences Creed,
right?
There were like a lot of easy comparisons. And then Ray, who doesn't study Ray?
Yeah. Is there any?
Not too far off.
Not too far. 2 for 3. I'll give myself 2 for 3. That's good enough.
That's a passing grade.
It is a passing grade. Thank God. Is there anybody that you in today? And I know you're going to give me the PC answer. I don't want to watch anybody today because I'm still in the circuit. Da, 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 da. But come on,
Please,
yeah.
you're not getting that from me.
All right, thank you. So who do you watch today and borrow stuff with my air quotes that you didn't see?
Let me think. Who am I really borrowing from a lot? So not as much right now, but before I spent a lot of time watching Jordan Grace.
Oh, okay.
Not as much now, but definitely like around the time she got signed, maybe a little bit before. Like watching a lot of her stuff and not like doing straight rips, but seeing like, oh wow, she positioned herself here to do this. I would have never done that. So let me position myself here to do this thing that I do. So like you would never be able to tell it's a Jordan Grace rip, but spent a lot of time watching her and borrowing from her. Who else is a big one for me? Tozawa during his cruiserweight title run.
Okay. I can see some of that too. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of little stuff I picked up from Tozawa. And I think that might be, those are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head. It's definitely more people. But those two.
Right. Yeah, wrestling. It's what's old is new, what's new is old.
Yeah, but those are the big two in terms of like today's stuff that I'm like, oh, let me borrow this. A lot of the stuff I watch today, I'm really just kind of trying to entertain myself. I'm like, Jade is great. Love her. Bianca, she made me feel things in my heart. Cody and Seth the other night.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Didn't spend a lot of time borrowing from anybody. When I'm watching this stuff, I'm just like, this is thoroughly enjoyable.
So you're still a huge mark for wrestling.
Yeah, I lost it for a while. But me and my girlfriend started getting into watching SmackDown now, so we watch it together on Hulu on Mondays. And her falling in love with wrestling. She used to be a fan. You know what all the people say. I was a fan, then The Rock left, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I still watched after The Rock left. Yeah, I understand.
Look, I understand where you're coming from, but whatever. But she got into watching it, and I fell back in love with watching wrestling as a fan again because of her. So we started watching SmackDown every Monday because we watched it on Hulu, and we watched a lot of the pay-per-views. Anything Bianca did, we tried to catch up on after she switched to Raw, and we were watching the Wrestling Open every week until I was on the Open every week. Then she just tried to keep up.
You seem, and I'm going to say this, and if it comes out wrong, I can take the hate, but you seem like you're a strong advocate for the women, as are we, because we said during the whole pandemic wrestling era that we had for those 2 years, the women carried it, and I hate to say it. On the TV, the women carried it with Bayley and Sasha and Charlotte and Asuka and all those guys, and Britt and everybody over in AEW. We think they carried the pandemic. They're pushing the needle more, I think, sometimes than the men. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. Gotta give Drew McIntyre.
Oh, yeah. I still love the guys.
Because Lord Father, like, his run during the pandemic is just disrespected because he was fabulous. I don't think people talk about it enough. But yeah, no, the women carried that, and they could have been carrying it for years and years and years. You get me started on the women, you're going to need to do a whole nother podcast with me just talking about women's wrestling.
Because I want to.
I wouldn't be able to stop. But when I was training people, you could ask anyone. I gave everybody my love, but I always put a little extra focus on the ladies. When I was wrestling at BWF, I used to help with the booking of the women and help with those storylines and became a featured part of the show. Black Girl Magic 1 and the second one that's coming up now. I'm super involved in just trying to help any way I can. So I'm just pumping out random little promos just to help the show get some hype.
For sure.
I plan to buy a ticket. Nobody can book me on August 19th. I'm going to be in the crowd with a paid ticket watching Black Girl Magic because more of that needs to happen.
Agreed.
Love women's wrestling, and it's a shame. That and tag team wrestling both can make so much money and rarely get the opportunity to do so.
Thank you. Well, we're going to schedule part 2 of this because we need to talk all about that and nothing about me or you on part 2 because I agree. We need to hear these thoughts and everything. But we'll move along because there's a couple other major questions I want to ask you. One, we've brought it up a couple times now. You've brought it up actually a couple times. Let's talk about your injury that took you away from wrestling for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I broke my skull. That was
You
fun.
just say it so easily. I broke my skull.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
But I broke my skull in August 2014. It was a whole thing. Wasn't supposed to get to wrestle again or compete in any contact sports, even semi-contact stuff was a question mark. Possibility of death. I think someone died in the hospital from like the same injury while I was there. It was a whole thing. There was a chance I wasn't be able to move my eyebrows anymore. That part really upset me.
You couldn't do the rock movement anymore. I understand.
Yeah. No more Dwayne Johnson in my life. Horrible. But long story short, God carried me through. Surgeon did the Lord's work. Got me through. I healed up better than expected. Went to another wrestling school because of another friend. I was going to be a manager. Trainer at the time was like, it's obvious that you want to be in this ring and doing more stuff. And I was bumping and all that without getting the appropriate clearance. So I went off and got that. And fully expect them to say, no, you can't do this. But doctor pretty much said, hey, as long as you don't break your skull again, you kind of do whatever you want. You're healed up. You don't really have any major issues. Go ahead. That's great. Let's do it.
And essentially, is this where your character, your shtick, your gimmick, your everything comes from, Brother Greatness? Because you really feel, and I, from hearing you talk about it and just hearing some other things on other podcasts, the Lord touched you. The Lord was there with you the whole time. You could have been dead. You brought it up. You could have been dead. Possibly you should have been dead. So do you think this is you giving back as like the wrestling Christian, Brother Greatness and everything?
Yeah, definitely. Like I was already Brother Greatness before the injury. I never really got to dive all the way into it. I was within a stable or what have you. So I really wasn't able to engage with the character as much as I wanted to. But I think what gives a lot of what I say and a lot of what I do a little extra oomph is understanding that every time I go out there, and I've been forgetting that a lot lately, but every time I go out there, it's a gift. It's a blessing. I'm not really supposed to be here. So all the time anything I do in this life needs to be for the Lord, but especially within the wrestling ring. It's my song service at this point. Every hallelujah matters. And it almost sucks that I'm doing so much heel work right now. I really enjoy the heel work, don't get me wrong. But I very much miss going out there and really just focusing on praising God. I'm not forcing anybody to believe what I believe, but I just want to be able to enjoy life with people in this way and be able to big up my Jesus in this way because I know what he got me through.
Right. Thank you for that. Because just a little bit sometime can change somebody. Because I said this a couple weeks ago or something. You're now somebody's hero. And if they hear you talk about the Lord, Jesus, whatever anybody wants to believe, and you're talking about the Lord, that might change their life. They might not stop at the bar on their way home, and they might go home and love their family more or something, just because from the message that you send to them that night. You don't know how they're going to receive it. But if you touch one person, you've changed lives. Not just one, you've changed lives, right?
Yeah, no, I've had some really incredible conversations off of doing. I hate to call it a gimmick because it's very much not. It's very much me to an 11. But
I hate that, by the way. That grinds my gears to the most. I hate when you guys say that. Wrestlers in general. It's me times 11. Jesus, I know.
But it's cliche, but there's a lot of truth to the statement. I know some people who are the same way backstage that they are in the ring.
Right.
And that's honestly, I'm kind of one of those guys. It's definitely a subsection, but You know, I'm definitely one of those guys. I've had Karen Bam Bam in the car complaining that I'm playing too much gospel on more than one occasion on the way to shows. Like, it's pretty consistent.
Get in a different car then, Bam Bam. Get in a different car.
Nah. She rocks out. In
Yeah,
the
no, I know.
Sanctuary is her song.
Yeah.
In the Sanctuary turned into her song. She's like, all right, you playing that yet? Or I'm like, ha ha.
Yes, I am. Have you watched The Masked Saint with?
Yeah. Fantastic movie.
Yeah, a fantastic movie. Yeah, so I put you in the same category as that. But all right, let's trudge along a little bit more. Like I said, I definitely want to have you back on. We're going to put that out there, talk women's wrestling tag team. But I want to get some of these bigger hitting questions in right now. Can you look back at yourself as a little guy watching wrestling on UPN and say, wow, I did it. I'm that superhero now?
I don't think younger me would be a big fan of Brother Greatness.
No?
Yeah, I think younger me, because it depends on where we're talking, but I was just so focused for most of my fandom on the technical guys and these mid-card stories and stuff. I feel like I would appreciate the whole Brother Greatness thing about as much as I appreciated Ray, where it's like, I loved Ray, but I was looking up to Angle and Benoit. Like, that's who I was staring at. Like, this is dope. This is violence. So I would have appreciated me, but I don't think it would have been. I definitely don't wrestle for younger Bradley. Definitely don't wrestle for him. I wrestle for my strengths.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've been in wrestling for, I'm going to pound this till it's a dead horse, 11 years now. I know. What have you seen change in that 11 years? And then what still needs to be changed?
Backstage is a lot more relaxed. You know, I feel like even like 2012, 2013, it still had that kind of old school feel to it. The conversations were a little bit more like, I guess, for lack of a better term, like that boys clubby kind of thing.
Yeah, I was going to say the good old boys club.
Yeah, I can't think of a better way to really put it, but the conversations were a little bit more intense, X-rated. Not so much like as a negative, but that's just what it was. It just felt older. Now it feels very, very geeky. There's a lot of video games and conversations around that. A lot of little shticks. You know, it feels very, not family. Family's too strong of a word, but it's like it's a friendlier space than it once was, at least to me.
Okay.
Like, it seems softer, but not in a way that I mean in a negative way. It just feels softer backstage. And I feel like fans can kind of tell when they see people coming out.
You don't have those grizzled vets back there.
Yeah, like, and even the ones who were there, like, even they seem to have chilled out really, really heavily.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't seem as intense.
What needs to still change?
The way people view this is why we need the other podcast.
Yeah.
The way people view women in tag team wrestling. That's my biggest problem.
Yeah.
That's my biggest problem today on every conceivable level of wrestling. Like, that is my biggest issue.
Yeah. Guys, you understand that part 2 is going to be about tag team wrestling and women's wrestling.
That's what it has to be. At this point, that's what podcast's going to have to be. Because,
yeah.
Listen, these, like, people complain about the WWE, and I look at that compared to local indie number 352, and I'm like, well, it looks like they care about their women's division. Over here, we got 42 people backstage, and none of them are women.
Yep.
What?
Preach it to the choir. Yep.
And it's not like there's no women's talent.
Oh, there's a ton of talent out there. There's tons of talent. I know a lot of them.
Bam Bam, Bonesaw, Jesse Brooks, La Chica out in Jersey, Mimi got signed already. But it's just like Anastasia Morningstar, Damaris, Storm,
Vicky,
all the girls from Becca. All the girls from Damian Adams School.
Yeah.
Kennedy Copeland, Riley Shepard, like Scarlett,
Zazzy,
yeah, my girl Zazzy.
Yeah.
Indigo. Like, there's just so much women's talent, and they're all right here.
Yeah. Yeah,
What?
you again. I know, because you are not that far away from me. My home promotion would be Pittsburgh, which is 3 hours away, because I'm in the middle of the forest in Pennsylvania. But the same thing. Like, you get one or two, and then wait, what? No, there's more out there that need to call them. Stop being, yeah.
Oh, the women are too expensive. That doesn't make sense to me when your card has 14 matches.
Yep.
I get it. The women are more expensive. I know they are. I know their rates. Right? I'm not going to say them, but I know a lot of the ladies' rates. They are way larger than a lot of the men. You can usually get 2 male workers, 2 or 3 men workers that are half decent for one good woman wrestler. But it's worth it to spend the cash.
It's so worth it.
It's worth it. And if you book it right, you win. Book them based on their wrestling, not based on their looks. Like, whatever, I'm going to stop, because we'll be talking about this for the rest of the time.
That'll be next time. That's just a teaser, by the way, folks. What has wrestling brought to your life?
Happiness and composure during a time that I was limited on both.
Okay. I don't want to know the story or anything, but yeah, I love that answer. I really do. Because that, you got a good heart. I don't know you from Adam or Eve or anybody else, but I know you have an amazing heart. All right, pushed against time a little bit, but part 2 we'll have scheduled here in the near future. I want to give Brother Greatness his time. Goals for the rest of this year, as I know you recently become a trainer. Are you more focused on that? You still want to tackle the Eastern Coast and head to Tennessee? What's going on?
So I actually stopped training people a while back. It's not
what?
It's not. Yeah. I was a trainer for a little over a year at T2T in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Actually stopped when I moved out of Brooklyn, and kind of started focusing on me. Almost took a very long sabbatical from wrestling a few weeks ago. Almost took a very long sabbatical.
That sounds like a story.
Yeah, but after a lot of good advice and making some life choices regarding wrestling, I decided to stick around, and now I'm just focusing on a handful of promotions and really trying to get back to the why I'm doing this. And we talked about it before, but just kind of focusing on wrestling as my song service, and focusing less on money, clout, the big promotions and all this stuff, and focus more on what it was supposed to be about in the first place, something I enjoyed doing, something that I did to praise my God and hopefully do something good for the people I'm around. So now I'm only wrestling a handful of places. So that because honestly, I was booked 4 days a week while working 5 days a week for a shoot job. This is not 9 days in a week. That doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense.
It didn't make, but it was true. So I really needed to pull back. So now if you want to see me, it's got to be the Wrestling Open on Thursdays, or TOS, or Pizza Party whenever they decide to run. That's or VPW in Long Island, because it doesn't take me long to get there. Like, those are, if it's not one of those 4, chances are you aren't going to find me. So for the rest of the year, my goal is to do the best I can in those places. And if a major opportunity comes, I will swiftly grab it up. And of course, helping Black Girl Magic. I need to do everything in my power to make that a successful show.
Besides your girlfriend, family, they now love and wrestling that you in it, or are they still not a wrestling family?
No, they do not like it. They let me, like, do what you gotta do. You're a grown man. But no, not big fans of it at all. They don't watch it. They don't like it. I have one uncle who kind of rocks with it a little bit. He'll hit me up. He watches a few things that I do if they pop up on YouTube. But outside of that, nope. No support from family. And the little bit of friend support I had died when I broke my skull. So no, in terms of externally, very limited support when it comes to wrestling. It's very much always has been me and the people in the wrestling community around me that have been my support system in wrestling. That is it.
Well, hopefully Can Crushers will jump on and get you more, because you're going to tell everybody all your socials, sell some merch, do all the shtick that you need to do. You told us where you're going to be, essentially, so yeah.
Yeah, I already did that part. Yeah, okay, the shtick. Brother Greatness 2012 on Instagram. Be Greatness, I want to say it's Be Greatness 2012 on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. Facebook, you can find me at Brother Greatness. That's the like page. Pro Wrestling Tees / Brother Greatness. All things Brother Greatness, and you'll find me with relative ease. Net show is, the net shows in the summer. I already listed most of them, but look out for Test of Strength and VPW in the month of July, the 9th and the 16th. So if you're in New York or in Connecticut, please reach out. Let's meet up at a show. And Wrestling Open, IWTV, every Thursday it's there. I'm not there every Thursday, but I'm there many Thursdays. So check out Wrestling Open every week. It is really good quality, independent wrestling, weekly television, full storylines, great wrestlers, and a lot of AEW guys show up now and again.
Yeah, first and foremost, if wrestling fans don't have IWTV, you're not a wrestling fan. So wake the hell up. Yeah, I don't get it.
You better have something. If you don't got WTV, at least have PWTV and High Spots, or Fight TV and you better have something.
Title match, yeah,
something.
Yeah, something. Spend that money. Stop living in your mom's basement. I said it, not you. Brother Greatness, we'll let you go as we're against time. Again, we'll be reaching back out to him because you know some about him, but now we're going to get to know about women's wrestling and tag team wrestling when he comes back on. Folks, I'm excited.
I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Yeah, and you're going to book a whole day. Unedited on everything. We're just going off on it. So
sounds good to me.
Let me know. Thank you for stopping by, brother.
Thank you for having me, brother, man. God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brother Greatness. Not a gimmick. Not a story. It's his real life. You know, he damn near died 2014 from breaking his head, breaking his skull, however he said it that quick. It's like a story that he's like, yeah, I'm tired of telling it. Well, people haven't heard it. Some people around here have not heard this. And yeah, he could be dead. He could not be walking. He could, there's the list of things could have happened. But God touched him. God touched the surgeons and the nurses and everything and made him okay. You know, he's taking bumps before he was cleared. Good job. Good job. I love that. Guys, asked him about the Masked Saint. He watched it. Fabulous movie. If you guys have not, make sure you check it out. And Breaking the Wall. It's already been scheduled. We are going to be talking tag team and women's wrestling real soon. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, this is going to be a fun one. It really is. Brother Greatness, thank you for coming on the show. I loved every minute of this. I love getting to know you. I loved your story. And I love how you live your life, man. I really do. All right, guys, remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called the garbage can, not the garbage cannot.